Hi everybody. Today we're going to talk about the AP scoring rubric. What is it? What do we use it for? And how do you get to it so that you know how College Board is going to score your artwork portfolio? The first thing you're going to do today is go to the AP Students website. If you don't know that website, it is apstudents.collegeboard.org. You can go here, and then this website will help you a lot with all manner of AP things if you don't know about it. The first place that we're going to go, we're not actually going to sign into AP Classroom, but we're going to go to some important guides. So we're going to go to courses and exams. That's right here on the screen. All right, so I go there, and you're going to want to find which of the three types of AP portfolios you're doing. For my students, it's AP 2D Art and Design. So we're going to click on this. And for AP 2D Art and Design, here's the class landing page. And this is going to help you a lot, just knowing what is the point of the class, what are you trying to get out of it, what skills will you learn in the class, what are some prerequisites, what is the college class equivalent, like if you were to take this class in college, what is the national portfolio date. That always changes per year, and usually teachers will have their students submit before this date so that we can quality check your work. I know, for example, in this school year for my students, they have to turn in May 1st, and that's just to make sure that everything is submitted by this date. Then you have course content. What are the big ideas? And so this is where you can get to a lot of important stuff about your AP class. One area that I really want everybody to see is you can look at the art and design course and exam description, and this is going to help you a lot to look through the guide and understand how the course is broken down. This is written for teachers, but honestly, I think high achieving high school students are probably going to be pretty interested in seeing this. You can also look at the differences between the three portfolios so you can understand what they are, and then you can look for additional information. So I'm going to take a look at how the portfolio is scored in a second. First, I want to go to the About the Portfolio tab because there's a little bit more important information on there. So this will tell you a lot more about the actual portfolio itself if you read through, and you can look at what exactly are they looking for from you, okay? This is a great way to make sure that your work is going to fall within what the judges are looking for. Just a note for anybody who takes videos or does animation, if you're a videographer, if you're an animator, they don't accept video clips, but it's still worth making your videos and your animations all throughout the year. And then you can actually submit screenshots from the video or animation. So any of you who read this and go, oh, well, why would I do like a process video or anything like that? It's not actually true. Just make sure you know you are going to have to take screenshots at the end of the year before you submit your work. Okay, so the next part, we have the components of the portfolio. This is a big deal that I don't think a lot of students understand. When you are doing your portfolio, there are two sections. One of them is about a specific topic or theme, and that's called your sustained investigation. The other section of your portfolio is called your selected works. The sustained investigation is a lot bigger. It's 15 digital images, and so it's actually 60% of your score. So a big chunk of your score is based on those themed works. They should all be about the same topic, where you're exploring something that you really care about. And then when it comes to selected works, these can be any of your artworks. They can even be repeats from your sustained investigation. They can be older works. But they should be 5 of your absolute best and really show off your talents and your skill with design or art. And then you can also read about how they score the portfolio. You can check out, this is the digital portfolio website where you eventually submit your work. So if you're ever wondering, how the heck do I get to that? If you go to the AP 2D Art and Design page and then click About the Portfolio and scroll to the bottom, it's right there. If you want to see a timeline, you can go here, learn how to submit your work. Portfolio policies is probably more of something that teachers are going to look at, but maybe you have a teacher where you're not sure if the guidance they're giving you is actually correct, so you can always check this out. And if you ever need to see examples of other students and the work they've made, they do post really helpful art and design exhibits of students who got really outstanding scores across the country. So it might be useful for you to look at that. So today we're going to talk about how do they actually score your portfolio. As it turns out, they have a rubric, people. Are we surprised? No, because by now in school, you should have seen a lot of rubrics at this point. So the judges who look over your portfolio, they're going to be looking at those two sections. Your sustained investigation comes first. And then after that, they're also going to be looking at your selected works. So this pages, is the rubric for the sustained investigation. If you already know how College Board scores things, like if you've taken an AP exam before, you probably know that you could get a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 as your score. So you might be looking at this rubric and going, why is this only 3, 2, 1? Well, kids, it's a great question. It's because it's only about this section of the portfolio. That is why. So they're going to give you a 3, 2, or 1 on this section, and then they're going to combine your scores together, and that's going to give you the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in the end. But first, they score your individual sections. So getting a 3 means you're actually doing a lot of things. It is difficult to get a 3. It's not easy, but it is still something to shoot for. And then 2 is kind of average, like you're hitting expectations, but you're not really going above and beyond. 1 may be like they're seeing more beginner skills, or you're really just not connecting the idea you said you had to your art pieces. Like they really don't see any reason between what you're saying in your written evidence that what you're saying is coming across is actually coming across in your art pieces. So let's break these down. We got a 1, 2, and a 3. In this first section, they're going to be judging inquiry. And so the student who got a 1, it says written evidence identifies an inquiry. So you did say what it was that you thought your theme was going to be about. But the visual evidence, as in your art pieces, don't relate to that inquiry. They don't make sense at all. Like, these two things do not go together. Your justification isn't lining up, and your art pieces feel kind of unrelated to what you're writing. If you get a 2, on the other hand, written evidence identifies an inquiry. So you identify your inquiry, you say the thing that you're working on over the course of the year. What's that theme? What's that sustained investigation? And also, it relates to the sustained investigation. Like when they see the visual evidence in your work, it really does demonstrate what you are talking about as a sustained investigation. And a 3, next, it identifies an inquiry, and that inquiry is really guiding your practice the whole year. If you say that you are doing research into game design and horror video games, and then you are actually creating something that does research about different games, and then also research into building a game, and then you're showing examples of your own ideas for that game, that is really going to show how your idea guided your investigation. Whereas a 2, whatever you said you were going to do in your written evidence, it relates to the sustained investigation. Like you might have said, well, I'm really interested in illustration and animation. They could look at your work and say, yeah, I think it relates. But if your written evidence isn't totally adding up to the sustained investigation, maybe for that individual piece you're describing something, but it doesn't still really tell us how that sustained investigation is guiding your work, we're not really going to get it. It's not going to come across. And then finally, for a 3, your visual evidence super does demonstrate your idea for your sustained investigation. When they look at your artwork, they can clearly understand why that is about your sustained investigation and why you chose that. It really makes sense to them. Okay. So the next category in the rubric is practice, experimentation, and revision. This is a big part of the AP portfolio. They want to know if you're practicing with different materials, if you're experimenting with your art pieces, and are you going back to revise them? Are you seeking out feedback from other people? Are you taking notes on what they said? Are you redoing your pieces and then revising them? They want to see all of that, okay? I will not break this one down as much for the sake of not making this video too long, but definitely read through these and pay attention to those bold words that are the guide here. So if you see something in bold, that's the action word there. So they're saying like visual evidence of practice, experimentation, or revision, meaning you did not do all three. You did parts of it. Maybe you practiced and you revised, but it's clear you didn't experiment. Okay, so somebody who is getting a 1, the word or is incredibly important there. The other words that are really important is does not relate. Your evidence doesn't relate to your sustained investigation. Same with a 2, look for the bolded words or and relates or. Okay, so break these down for yourself so that you'll be able to tell what is the thing they're looking for here. Those bold words are going to guide what they're looking for. And a 3, you'll notice there's not really a lot of or statements. It's a lot of and then one or, okay? And it also says demonstrates development of the sustained investigation. So it develops over the course of time, okay? Next category is materials, processes, and ideas. We're going to go a little bit faster through the last 2 categories because we've talked about how do you break down the difference between a 1, 2, or 3. You're really paying attention to those bold words or phrases as you look over the rubric. So read this, look for those bold words or phrases, and then it will help you to understand what's the difference between a 3, a 2, and a 1. And then last category is your 2D, 3D, or drawing art and design skills. Now they're looking at what is your artistic skill? Is it rudimentary, meaning kind of beginner, or moderate? Is it moderate to good? Is it good and advanced? Okay, so your skill is really going to come into play here, but it's only one of the 4 categories. So you might be kind of intermediate at art making or design, but you could find you're still getting a really great score because your inquiry and your written evidence do a great job of combining what is your sustained investigation, how is that guiding your work throughout the year, and also your art pieces really demonstrate what your idea is for your sustained investigation. So if you play things right, if you are more of a novice in your art or design skills, or if you're more intermediate, you can still get a decent score on the sustained investigation, even though you might not have the skills that you want to have in art. Okay, so that is the sustained investigation rubric. Next time we talk about things, we'll be talking about the rubric for selected works and looking over some examples from AP. Okay, so I hope this helps some of you to understand how things will be scored at the end of the year when you submit your work to College Board and what they're going to be looking for when they score your work. Just keep in mind when you're going to look for things, again, you want to go to apstudents.collegeboard.org, and then you want to go to courses and exams at the top of the page, and you want to look over those different portfolios and find the one that you know you are doing yourself. Okay. Hope this was helpful and see you next time.